So I'm always excited when I have Sundays that I don't have to preach. I'm probably too upfront about that, but the board has made it clear that that's actually part of my job. So, but today we have an exception. So we have a young lady with a homeless person on my couch last night. So what happened, so most of you kind of are aware, but Hope is our, eighth child? Yeah, which son and which daughter, I don't know, she's my eighth, so she has two younger sisters. That's all I have to worry about. The rest of them are grown. So anyway, but she left for YWAM the middle of June. YWAM is Youth with a Mission, so it's a missionary program. They do training, and then they go overseas in a 6-month gig. And so she left, and then the following week, I was inducted as pastor here, which meant the house that she lived in when she left has now been inhabited by a whole bunch of people other than us. And so she's here with us, but the good news is next week she's moving back in with them. So if that's really weird, then that's crazy. But so basically I left the house and all my kids moved back in. That's got to say something, right? It's a pretty big house, yeah. Apparently it's bigger when I'm not there. Anyway, what's your name? Hope. Just came back from YWAM actually yesterday, and so we thought we'd give the opportunity to share with you guys what she's been doing there for mostly the last 2.5 months in location in the Philippines. But come on up and do your thing. Okay.
Is this thing on? Okay, it is. Maayong buntag, ako si Hope, taga here, Lebanon, Oregon ko. So yeah, I was in the Philippines for 2.5 months. I learned a little bit of Bisaya, which is the local dialect of the places we were staying at. What I said was, "Good morning, my name is Hope. I'm from here in Lebanon, Oregon." I wanted to introduce myself with the questions that we got asked as missionaries at the churches we went to and the places we were staying. So they wanted to know our name, where we're from, my age, I'm 18, my favorite color, which is silver, my favorite Filipino food, which is balut, and if you don't know what that is, it is a fertilized fermented duck egg. This is really funny. I got cheers in the Philippines. What else did they want? They wanted to know if I was single or married. I'm single. Those were the questions that we got asked the most. I bought this dress and these earrings in the Philippines, and this is what I would wear to church there. I'm going to take my hat off and this. I just wanted to show you what I would be wearing if I was still there. I made slides for you. Dad, which one is which? Ah, they're up there already. Okay, so this is where I was before I went to DTS, which is a Discipleship Training School. It's the entry-level school of YWAM. So it started here because this is the first place I ever heard God's voice. And that what I heard led me to believe that YWAM was the right place for me. I went into YWAM thinking that I knew everything, or that my dad knew everything. I learned differently with both things. So I went in thinking that there was nothing really new for me to learn besides memorizing scripture and being able to talk in front of people, which I still don't like doing. But during lecture phase, I came to realize that I don't know everything. I know next to nothing, which is an entertaining process to go through. I learned that I could be whole because of who God is and how he could heal me. And when I went to outreach, that solidified what I learned. That's the next one. So this is the first picture. Oh my goodness, I have a laser pointer. This picture, I dyed my hair green because I wanted to match with Mr. Coho. And this was a week or a couple days before I went to DTS. And this picture was at the end of lecture phase. It was the last time I got to hang out with those kids before I went to the Philippines. These are my best friends in the whole world, more or less. Which is really funny because she hated me. Okay, so this thing is sliding off of my ear. It does? Okay. Dad's ears are smaller than I thought. So in lecture phase, when I went in, I thought I was gay. And God taught me that that's not my true identity. That's not who I am. That's not how he sees me. I thought I had a great relationship with him. He showed me that that was wrong also. But he taught me how to make it better, and I think it is now. But I still have a long ways to go. I was mistrustful. I didn't want to make friends or be open, but God put me in positions where I had to trust people and to open my heart. I had a mental concern that almost kept me from going to outreach. I almost had to stay home. But God showed me that it was a problem. I didn't think it was a problem at the time, but he showed me that it was. And God, my parents, and the school leaders helped me figure out how to fix it. And I thought I needed to be dramatic for people to pay attention to me. That's not true. I just need to be funny. That's also not true. But he sent me people to make it abundantly clear that I just need to be who I am. You can see Dad's crying. That's the wrong way. Okay. Going to outreach, I did not feel prepared. I was not confident in interpreting the Bible. I didn't think that my testimony, the story of my life and my journey with God could inspire others. I didn't think I could stand in front of crowds and talk or be listened to, and I didn't think that God could work through me or would. Work. Okay. Why did I pick these pictures? Hang on. That's not my boyfriend. I'm single. That's my little brother. He's my classmate. He was the only classmate I had that was younger than me. His name is JJ. This was on our plane to our second location in Davao. And this was us at a celebratory coffee date with the Davao team. That's Japet. Kuya Japet at De Lavinia. I don't remember her name. I'm glad this isn't recorded. That's Kuya Carlo, and then the backs of heads of other people. That's me, by the way. So what I learned during outreach is kind of the opposite of what I didn't feel prepared in. I learned that God sent me to the DTS not to learn about him, but to teach others about him. I learned that my story can impact people in ways I don't expect. When I was giving my testimony for the last time in a church in Davao, one of the older ladies came up to me afterwards and said that she felt heard. She felt like it impacted her, and that was amazing. I learned that people listen when I speak and that they believe what I tell them, which has probably made me lie less. I learned that God can and will work through anyone, even if they're saying entirely the wrong thing. I hope I'm not. So this is the reason that we can't record. These are places we went to. This was a prison. That's why the faces are blurred out, because even though we're not recording, I can't make that picture public. That day, I gave my testimony. He gave his testimony, which is amazing. And she gave a sermon, which was also amazing. It was about shame and identity in Christ. I'm just going to keep this here. This was at a Bajau church. The Bajau is a tribe. They were water pirates or water gypsies. They are predominantly Muslim, but this was a Christian church that we were invited to speak at twice, and we had a lot of fun. We were teaching them songs, and in this one, my classmate Anna was giving a story about Jesus walking on the water because we thought that would be the most impactful as a water tribe. And the kids were acting it out. We were the boat, and that was Peter. They were the disciples, and he was Jesus. Okay, so speaking of that, there are some problems in the Philippines that still need prayer. There's Catholicism and idolatry. I learned in the Philippines that the Catholic version of the Ten Commandments isn't true. They omit the commandment about idolatry. They pretend it doesn't exist. And instead, they split the last commandment in half, so it's a little bit redundant. So I have pictures of that. We went to a museum, but this is what it's like in the current churches. I just didn't take pictures of those. So this is also a picture of Jesus, it's just dark. They would have things like this up, and they would have glass boxes with miniature figures of saints who they pray to. They would say they don't pray to the saints. They would say they ask the saints to talk to Jesus on their behalf, but they're praying. So that's a problem. Animism. I don't know how to explain animism. Does everyone know about Native Americans and what they do with the spirits and the ground and the earth thing? I'm seeing nods. Yes, what she said. Yeah, can you repeat it? Animating inanimate objects. Perfect. So that's animism. And I have another picture. So these bracelets that the babies are wearing, this isn't a perfect example of animism, but it's the only one I had pictures of. These bracelets that the babies are wearing are, I think, jade, made out of jade, and they're to protect the babies from spirits. And it didn't work, obviously, because when my classmate Anna started praying for the babies that she was holding, they cried immediately, and they stopped crying as soon as she stopped. So that needs prayer. The next thing is Islam, because while the Philippines is predominantly Catholic, a lot of the places that we were going to was predominantly Muslim, primarily Muslim. So, but we got the opportunity to go to a Muslim kindergarten. This is Kuya Man. He was interpreting my story of Jonah. And these are the kids. And we got to go there 3 times, which is incredible. We had to be very careful about what we said because we can't mention Jesus. We couldn't even mention pigs, which I thought was funny. We tried teaching them Old MacDonald how to farm. And the first animal was a pig, and we had to turn it off right away. And the last thing on this list is poverty. There is so much poverty that's in the Philippines. There was, this is in Samal Island, where we went. My classmate Carmen was preaching that day, and these were their houses right here. This was the only place they had to do the church that they were at, and these were their houses. And then this one, again, these walls, this was inside their house. Everyone washes their laundry in buckets, they have it hanging up, but their houses are entirely open. Or if they're lucky, they have like a sheet to drape across a doorway. Sometimes they have doors, but it still looks like this on the floors inside their houses. So if you could pray for poverty and like help for them, that'd be awesome. I think that's the last one on that list, so I'm going to move on. People that I met that need prayer. I made a friend. We went to a church in a city inside Davao, I think. I don't really remember. But it was called Kapalang. And I made a friend named Sina. That's how you pronounce the first name. It's Sina. And she's 15 years old, and she makes friends with any missionary that comes her way. And she is trying so hard to have a relationship with God. But the church, she lives right across the street from the church there, but the church has only been there for, I think, 2 years, and they still need a lot of help. We exchanged bracelets or gifts. I have mine. And we're still in contact, thankfully. But I still think she needs prayer, and she needs help with her journey because she's a child, and I adore her. The other two, Juliet and Angelica. This is the coolest story that I have. We went park evangelizing, or friendship evangelizing, which is where we pair up and we walk around a park and we talk to random people that we meet because we can. So it was me, my staff leader, Crystal, and we had a translator named Renelle. And I have a picture of these people, actually. Hang on. This is Sina. She's cute. This is Juliet. This is Angelica. This is Crystal. So that day we were at the park. We didn't really expect anything much to happen besides making friends, because that's what normally happens. They weren't particularly interested in talking to us because they were shy and their English wasn't great. And that was a little bit weird because normally everyone is jumping at the chance to talk to the only white people around. But we went up to talk to them, and Crystal kept trying to get me to lead the conversation, but I had no idea what I was going to say. I'd never been with Crystal before. She made me nervous. So she started, and it was a little awkward because she kept trying to hand it back to me. She asked if they knew God, if they knew how to pray, if they knew the gospel. They didn't know any of it at all. Complete blanks. Even when our translator tried asking, they had no idea what any of it was. So we shared a little bit about the gospel, and then our translator, Renelle, went into depth and could explain it better in a language that they understood. After that, we talked. We exchanged stories about ourselves. We learned what they needed prayer for, and we prayed for them. Juliet, poor Juliet, I don't know why I'm pointing. Poor Juliet was crying the whole time. And we had a really great bonding experience. And at the end, I asked if I could show them how to pray to accept Jesus into their lives. And both of them said yes. So now we have 2 brand new Christians in the Philippines. We have their contact information too, and we know that it wasn't just a one-off thing, that they were just trying to make us happy so that we would leave them alone. Because they texted Crystal, and now we know that they're both going to a church that they continue to going to. Dad, I think I'm not going to make the half hour. I talk fast. Okay, our last picture. So from the beginning of lecture phase to the end of outreach, foot washing has been a huge thing. And by that I mean nobody wanted to do it. So this was in Cebu, our first location. This was a staff member there. We were asked to take care of their staff care day, which is on Saturday mornings, and I think it's a great idea. And we prayed about it, and God, thank you, Lord, told us to wash their feet and anoint them. So this is me washing at the Annalyn's feet, and afterwards I anointed her, and it was lots of fun. And I don't know why my classmates are scared of feet. And then later, we had our pastoral visit, which is where one of our school leaders comes to the Philippines to check up on us and see how everything is going. And this night, it was midnight by the time we finished that particular meeting, because our school leader, Tim, wouldn't let us leave until we finished what we were doing. And afterwards, he said they prayed, and God told them that we had to wash each other's feet. So this is me watching my classmate Carmen's feet, and you can see how much she's enjoying it. And the best part is afterwards she had to wash my feet, and that was even funnier. But yeah, it was a great experience. I think that's the last slide I had, though. Now you can ask questions or comments or concerns. Any questions? Uh-oh. Thank you, Kat. Huh? Yeah, I love you guys too. Love you more when you don't embarrass me in front of everyone. Dad has a comment.
Yeah, so it's 10:51 right now. Usually we go to about 11:15, so we're going to stand here and stare at you for 20 minutes.
If you stare at me, ask questions. The one in Kapalong that they were starting, it was a large concrete box. It had windows, but the windows had bars on them, and there was no glass, so it was just bars, and there was about that wide. The bars, the space between the bars, I could stick my arm through it, and there was still space on either side. So we had cats coming in at the middle of the night. The door to our church was a cell door, lots of bars, but this time they crisscrossed so people couldn't get through. And it locked from the outside. So the girls, it was me, Anna, Carmen, Olivia, and Crystal. We were staying inside the church. The boys got to sleep across the street at the pastor's house, which was our choice. We got to decide. And anyone want a funny story about spiders? I'm telling this for you, Kat. So, the first night we were there, we were all getting ready to go to bed. The door was locked. The guys had left. We couldn't get out because the door locks from the outside and we don't have the keys. So, when we were going to bed, Olivia looked up at the ceiling, and there's a giant huntsman spider the size of her hand, which is not much smaller than me. That's what we were saying, Kat. So, Crystal used to apparently squish spiders that big just for a living. So she got a shoe, and she tried 3 times to kill it, and thank the Lord she missed, because there were egg sacs on her back. So now we're trying to figure out how we can catch the spider to release it outside. And we had to take bucket showers while we were in Kapalong. So we had a giant bucket full of water, and there was a smaller bucket inside to pour the water ourselves. And Carmen found that one that she could trap the spider in. By the time she found it, the eggs were hatching. Olivia is the only one who is that terrified of spiders. So she was that terrified. It was terrifying. But she was the one who was immediately calling on the phone, calling the guys. She was frantic. It was hilarious. I'm glad that she was the one calling, because if it was anyone else, we probably would have sounded more calm than she did. She got the guys to come over with the keys. Carmen has the spider against the wall, and we got all of them out. We didn't find any baby spiders still on the wall, So it ended well. We named the spider Jezebel because we threw her out to get eaten by the dogs. That's my funny story. That's a description about the church. I love you, Kat. The main religion was technically Catholic, but there's a lot of animism and idolatry involved in that, because when Spain conquered the Philippines, they had already had a lot of animistic tendencies, and they weren't really told that they had to get rid of those. So it's still a huge thing. When we were in Cebu, we went to a church, and our contact there was telling us about Santo Niño, which is baby Jesus, because there was a huge fire at the church, and the only thing that survived was this image of baby Jesus. So they decided that the Santo Niño is a symbol of protection, and if they had it with them, they would be protected. And we had a tiny Jesus with us, and for the longest time, because of that story, I couldn't figure out whether to call it tiny Jesus or baby Jesus, which was really bad and awkward. It's tiny Jesus, not baby Jesus. Baby Jesus is the idol. Tiny Jesus is the fun thing. I think no. The poor people fish, Dad. Most people in the Philippines, I've heard, go to New Zealand to be nurses. So there's a lot of, they want to be doctors. Some of them want to be teachers. Most people that I've had contact with are going to school as an English major to leave the country. Because it's really difficult for Filipinos to leave the Philippines. I don't think it should be. No. But China is kind of putting a chokehold on them. So it's getting there a little bit, unfortunately. Most of the houses that we went to, because we were praying for them, had dirt floors. Some of them were cleaner than the one I showed, but most of them were like that. The homes we were staying in had wooden or tile floors, but they were a little bit better off because God. A lot of the churches that we went to were inside other buildings, so they had nicer floors. But most of the homes that I've been to, most of the homes that I've seen from a distance have dirt floors or what's it called? Plywood on the floor. I've heard that the only clear, distinct way of telling is the number of children. Excuse me. Because people who are impoverished have a lot of kids because they can't really, what she said. She said control themselves, by the way. This is the Philippines, Father. People do think I come from a poor family because I tell them I have 9 siblings. The middle class has 2 or 3 kids because they have the money to get, what's it called? Birth control, thank you. Whoever said it. I think there was several people. And then the older, higher class people, they'll have, the middle class and the impoverished people have about the same types of clothes. The upper class has nicer clothes, and they also have more children because they have enough money to take care of their children. But there's also a lot of street kids. Some of our ministries were with the street kids or at an orphanage where the kids were going in and out all the time because nobody cared enough to make them stay. At one of the orphanages we went to, we met a young couple who they were 16 to 18, and they had a 1-week-old baby. And I am glad I got to pray for them, and I'm glad that most people in that situation would try to give up their baby, or they would like break up and they wouldn't stay together. When I saw them interact, I saw nothing but love. And I'm glad that they're still together and that they love their child. And that they're doing their best for it. Her? I think it was a her. Yes, they're living at the orphanage. Yes, Joe? Mm-hmm. Long term, I know that God has called me to Israel because of my Jewish heritage. I can minister to Jews easier, and my plan is to start an orphanage there and take in as many street kids as I can. In the short term, I'm going back to college, and I'm helping Dad with the teenagers here because that's something I can do while I'm here and while I'm broke. There are street kids. Yeah. Mhm. I need practice any way I can get. Yeah. Dad's forcing me to. I'm joking. I told him when we were in Manila first that I had issues with the state of our high school and that I wanted to fix it. So that's why he told me about all of this stuff and why I'm going to help here. Yeah. I've learned that coincidences are not actually coincidences. Yeah, God incidences. Animals? They do have animals. Who here has seen VeggieTales? I said VeggieTales. Yes, they have vegetables. Okay, so this is related. Do you guys know the song of the Cebu from VeggieTales? So when we went to an mountain tribe, and there was a city on mountains, or like halfway up mountains. It's called Malita. And we went up and down those mountains every day for 5 days on motorcycles, the bed of a truck, or walking. I got to walk up half a mountain my first day in Melita. It was great and steep. So on one of our days, we saw a Cebu. And one of the guys that we were with, Kuya Japet, I showed you guys a picture of him. He's a skinny guy with a fun face. We saw it, and all of us went, say boo, because that's what we do. And he had no idea what was going on. So we spent the whole ride, the rest of the ride there, and all of the ride back, playing him the song of the Cebu. And now he says it every time he sees a Cebu also. So they have Cebus. They have, I don't think they have a lot of cows, because the beef there is kind of gross. They They do eat dog in the Philippines. Not in Cebu, which was our first location, but it was a thing in Davao, but we never had it. It's not kosher. They have lots of chickens. I ate mostly chicken while I was there. They had pork, lots of pigs. And but I can't talk about the pigs, not around the Muslim community. Those poor guys probably knew how to make chicken really, really good. I know there are other animals, sorry. No, the sacred cow thing is in India. And one of our staff leaders went to India on his outreach, and he told us that the sacred cows in India are not well taken care of at all. They're just sickly. So to be a sacred cow is not that fun. Yeah, can't touch them. It's a little bit stupid if you ask me. But they had little lizard things that made really loud noises, especially at night when people are trying to sleep. There was one in my room, and it was really cute, and if I had it on my slides, I would show you guys, but I don't. Show you guys later if you ask me. They had little ones, and they had big ones, and the big ones made loud noises. The little ones just pooped on you. And I know that because one pooped on Anna. There were lots of birds. I didn't really see many, but I know that other people did, and they're super colorful, so I've heard. I was mostly looking at the plants. They have leaves like this. And it's really cool. Birds, yes. I think so, but I didn't really get to see much of the birds. I would see them either in a distance where I couldn't see their pretty feathers, or I'd see them in pictures. I did, I think. It's hard to tell with both places we were staying at had chickens. Ooh. Thank you. I'm glad it inspired you. It went up and down a lot. I don't know how many people I've told this, but I've been able to sense demons before, or I've been able to sense like dark spiritual energy. And for the most part, that wasn't a thing. But when we went to the orphanage, it was definitely really heavy. It made me feel a lot of anxiety, and it was hard to work with the kids there. And another time at the church that I gave my final testimony at, that was also a really heavy place for me. It could be because that was the last church we were able to go to. But those were only 2 instances, and for the most part, everything was normal and fine. In some churches, I felt the exact opposite, and it was amazing and light, and I felt like free. I don't really know how to describe spiritual energy other than dark and light. Okay, thank you. Close. Yeah, normally their feet are very clean because everyone wears either shoes or slippers. The street kids didn't have many shoes. Their slippers are like sandals, basically. So they're thick. The first time I got cold was in Melita, and that was 6 weeks into the trip. I'm really angry about how hot it was there. It was hot, it was humid, I was taking showers every night because it was sticky. I'm wearing this shirt not because it was the only shirt I had, but because in the Philippines, we can't wear strapped dresses without something under it, and all I had to wear under it was a long-sleeved black shirt. In the Philippines? In the afternoon? And I wanted to wear a black shirt because that's what I wore there, and the only one that I had was Dad's. That's why it doesn't fit. Yeah, the clothes, we weren't allowed to wear strapped stuff, but lots of the people there were. We were missionaries. We have to follow stricter rules because we're supposed to be a good example and be hot. Yeah. So they were wearing, most of the families in poverty had like shorts or a t-shirt. Nobody wore pants that I can remember, except the staff members and the parents. Usually the street kids or the people who didn't have a lot of money, they were either wearing sandals or they were just barefoot. I didn't really see many socks. Yeah. If they were wearing something more like what we would wear here, it would be their uniform, or it would be a special present. The huntsman was deadly, but since we're on spiders and you reminded me, apparently in Davao there's a way for kids to make money, and that is to catch a very specific kind of spider and make them fight each other. So apparently spider fights were a thing. We never got to see them because Olivia was terrified of spiders, and I think she would smite anyone that tried. Or ask God to on her behalf. Yes, Doug? I'm sorry? Is this Tanzania? So we learned about the accident in Tanzania during the YWAM conference I went to, and it was not just one individual that was killed. Unfortunately, there were several people. It was a targeted attack on the missionaries, and there was a traffic accident. I think almost everyone died, and everyone was scrambling to figure out what was going on. But it was a YWAM thing. There were YWAM missionaries. And one of the survivors spoke at the conference that I went to in Manila, and he said that everyone that died quickly, and that everyone was able to, what's the word that I'm looking for? It was a tragic accident, but it had a positive outcome on the people that they were ministering to. That's the word. Yes. Yeah, God used it very well. Okay. Oh. Okay. Yeah, that happened back in February. So way before I even went to DTS. What? You said it was Tanzania. It wasn't me. Nobody on my team died. We're fine. I didn't know about this new thing that happened. Okay. Yeah. Good. I mean bad, but good. We did. We said we were there for tourism, which meant we could only be there for 3 weeks at a time. So we had to get our visa extended several times. 3 weeks? I meant 4 weeks. 4 weeks at a time. So we had to get our visa extended twice. And it wasn't because the Philippines is a closed country, but because it would be easier for us to explain what we're doing to the people that didn't want us there as missionaries. Can we do that after? No, I just don't want to be fat. I want to give other people a chance first. Is it okay? Do I take my mic off?